you guys, this is Irene. I wanted to come on here and talk to you about the current situation with Venezuela. Juan Guaido is essentially proclaiming himself as the president of Venezuela. This is being backed up by Trump as well as Germany. I find it interesting that when the US backs something, it's Trump backing it, but Germany, they don't name Germany's leader, they just say Germany. Nevertheless, many countries are backing Juan Guaido in his push to elect himself as president of Venezuela. We have no people on the ground, like I personally don't, so I know a lot of what is in the news is propaganda. I don't know if I can believe the clips that I'm seeing of political parties coming forward in a country as poor as Venezuela with like matching shirts and hats talking about how the people don't really want this. It seems like a wealthy power grab because when the ground roots, people, those grassroots people move, they don't have matching t-shirts and hats. But nevertheless, I'm going to go ahead and play the clip here.
All masks have been removed from Donald Trump, President of the United States, from his Vice President, the dislocated Mike Pence, from the National Security Advisor John Bolton. All without exception have said they are coming for the oil of Venezuela. And what is our response? Yankee hands off our oil industry. They will not return to govern Venezuela or come to take our oil.
Okay, so essentially Nicolás Maduro, and he wants to take 1.2 billions worth of the country's gold out of the UK reserves. So Juan Guaido is actually pushing back against this. Now, why is the gold significant? The gold is significant because gold is the only real currency that there is, gold and precious metals. I think we could, always do barter with things like salt, sugar, precious goods like that, but most things aren't worth anything. Gold is the universal trader, and there's only so much of it to go around, which is why it's very valuable. Venezuela was really stupid for leaving its gold reserves there. I mean, that was just a really bad move. They should have pulled it out a long time ago. Once they decided that they were going to be breaking with a lot of the world banks and things like that, they needed to make some moves to secure their actual assets. So what's happening now is that the UK isn't quite releasing their $1.2 billion in gold. I want to talk about the idea that we're after Venezuela's oil. So as of May 2018, their crude oil production was about 1.4 million barrels a day. So we averaged in Texas about 4 million gallons of oil a day. To put that in perspective, Venezuela has actually reached an all-time low, well, not all-time, but like a 30-year low in its crude oil production. Nevertheless, Venezuela still remains one of the top producers of oil that is outsourced from the United States for our country. Am I saying that right? Yeah. We outsource for oil, and the top 5 sources that we get our petroleum from are Canada, Saudi Arabia, Mexico, Venezuela, and Iraq. So Venezuela actually makes the top 5 list. So I think it is fair to say that Trump, who is our president, if he could see a way to have a relationship with the Venezuelan president that would be advantageous to the United States, and the oil we can get, the prices that we can get for it, or the companies that can drill for oil in Venezuela, then he's going to do that. From a global, I'm a human, kind of let's all cuddle and love each other perspective, I can definitely see how that could be problematic. However, with regard to me as an American, I say go for what you know. Like, we have to make a decision here in this country. It's like we're kind of getting in this weird place where we forget that we're American. And so the things that are best for us are best for us, and they may not be the best for other people. Venezuela is a small country. This is going to sound really mean, y'all, but seriously, Venezuela is a small country. They are defenseless, essentially. And if we can make a grab for their oil in a way that is cheap for us, or that is advantageous for us, then I'm all with it. I am supportive of what Venezuela did when they attempted to separate and free themselves from the white-led monopoly of, the central banks and the International Monetary Fund and all of that. But they weren't pragmatic in how they moved. They're trying to be an island and they can't be. They were counting on the tourism industry and their oil to carry them, and it's not. So I'm really torn here. Like, I'm supportive in theory of what they're trying to do, but as an American, I obviously have to be supportive of what our president is doing or appears to be doing, which is positioning the United States to be in a good place with regard to the oil that we take from them, considering they're one of the top 5 countries that gives us oil. It just is what it is. So if I've got to pick, I'm going to pick the US every single time. I mean, Juan Guaido is likely a sleazeball, but here's the thing. All countries are ran by sleazeballs. This is nothing new. So the fake outrage is what I can't deal with. And that's pretty much where I stand on the Venezuela situation. I mean, Trump can do what he's going to do as long as it benefits America. And if Juan Guaido and his sleaziness being over Venezuela is going to lock them into a prison, which it probably will do, that benefits the United States, then hopefully it's something that's beneficial to us. Otherwise, obviously, I feel like we should just take ourselves out of that situation. But if there's an advantage to the US to play this game, then we got to play. Like, it is what it is. That's what we did in Iraq. Do you know what I mean? There was an advantage to us in dealing in Iraq because they're one of, as we see, our top 5 outsources that we use for oil. Venezuela makes the list, and I guess it's just not smart of you to start playing with the giants if you don't have the backing to protect yourself. And I think Venezuela is going to find that out, and it just is what it is. It's just how the world works. And, I wish them luck in theory with what they're doing because you guys know I'm of a revolutionary mindset. But in the same breath, you got to be tight with your ship. And we can't, as Americans, put other countries' interests ahead of our country's interests. Can never do it. We're either not going to have a country and we're going to be a global world, or we're going to have a country and we're going to do what's best for the United States. And that's where I stand on that. I'll talk to you guys a little bit later.